KSU Nation, the best K-State and Big 12 podcast out there. I'm Stevie B.
And I'm Kenny G.
And in today's episode, we're going to be breaking down Iowa State versus Arizona State in a Big 12 title game in the house that Jerry built. We're also going to be picking all of the conference championship games and also doing our final Big 12 power rankings. Before we do that, though, Kenny, let them know about the sub button and the join button and the super chats and all of that, bud.
Well, Steve basically hit on all of it. We've got a subscription button, a join button, and a super chat button. I think it's titled under thank you or something with a little heart or something like that. I don't know. But please, just draw your attention. If you don't know if you're subbed, just check right now. Okay? Take 2 seconds, just check the sub button, because sometimes people don't even realize they're not subbed and they get this video popped up on their algorithm. So please just take a look and make sure that you're subscribed. It helps us out a lot. We finally hit 1,000 subs, and our new goal is 5,000 by the end of next year. We're hoping we could do that because we're going to be busy bees the next couple of months and on to the next year. There's a lot of stuff going on all over college sports and specifically the Big 12. So we're going to be trying to cover as much as we can. And also become a member. Join us for $2.99. You can have all the perks of having new special emotes. We'll have exclusive chats, streams just for you as well. And yeah, if you want to guarantee that your comment shows up on the screen, go ahead, send us a super chat. All right, Steve, what are we getting into today?
Well, there's a big old championship game happening on Saturday, 11 a.m. in Jerry World between Arizona State and Iowa State, man. We thought K-State would be there. We did. All season long, I had K-State going 11-1. He had him going 10-2. Both of us had him in a championship game. Unfortunately, did not happen. But I still feel like Arizona State versus Iowa State is a pretty good matchup, Kenny. But do you think they got it wrong? Should they change the tiebreakers? Should BYU or Colorado be there instead?
No. I think that the people that got in deserve to get in. I think when you go down that rabbit hole, it just becomes a mess about who deserves what. Because if you start doing that, you're going to start looking like the CFP. Because that is just a whole mess right now with who deserves it, and record shows this, and but this person plays in this whatever. So it's a mess. I get it, and my heart breaks for BYU. My heart breaks for Colorado fans. You guys are deserving of it for sure, but two teams got in and that also deserve it. And they're two great teams. All four of the top teams should have had their own playoff, honestly. I think that would have been really cool to have like a mini playoff to get to the Big 12 championship. Since, we're only getting one team in the CFP anyway, might as well have our own little mini CFP. But honestly, Steve, I'm happy for Arizona State. What an amazing story for them. It's like having the ultimate Cinderella story, and then Iowa State, they also kind of have a Cinderella story. They've never gotten to 10 wins. It's been forever since they've won a Big 12 championship game. I mean, back in the 19 teens, since they've actually won. They weren't even wearing helmets back then. The rules were totally different. There was like 4 downs and there was all kinds of craziness. But, this is Arizona State's chance to really win their first Big 12 championship title. Really, I mean, you can count the one that's way back in the 1900s, like early 1900s. But, this one, it really is the one that they're going to be like, this is our first, that they can really celebrate and say like, yeah, I was there for that. Because there's nobody alive, nobody alive since when the first time Arizona or Iowa State won the first Big 12 title. And then for Arizona State, you guys are the newcomers into the Big 12. And man, you have made a statement. I saw this post that said that Arizona State has won volleyball. They were the volleyball champs, Big 12 champs. their football, in the or the Big 12 championship game, they had like gymnastics, like all these like sports. They're popping off. They're ranked right now like the top 10 in basketball. Dude, they're doing really well. What an amazing story for this university. Like, we thought them coming in, we didn't think they were going to make much of a splash because of what they were doing in the Pac-12. But man, they have come in and made a freaking splash, Steve. So I'm excited for both teams. I think they're both deserving of it. And they're incredible storylines both ways you look at it. It's gonna be hard to pick a team that is gonna win this one. I kind of want to root for both of them, but ultimately you got to pick one. So
yeah, and whoever wins this game is going to the college football playoff. But I feel like both deserve it, and really, I feel like BYU deserves it over anyone. Their resumes way better than a lot of these SEC teams.
Yeah.
It's better than Penn State. It's better than Indiana. It's better than a lot of these teams. And I really feel like the Big 12 is getting snubbed this year because they don't really have like one dominant team, but like neither does SEC. I mean, they really don't. So I'm excited about this game. I am. I'm going to take a look at some stats here in a minute, but Rocco Beck, quarterback for Iowa State, has got 3,000 passing yards, 20 touchdowns. They have a pair of 1,000-yard receivers in Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel or Noel, however you want to say it. I think it's Noel, which combined have 15 touchdowns. If you look at Arizona State, obviously they're led by Cam Scadaboo, basically 1,400 yards rushing in only 11 games, which is second in the Big 12. 17 touchdowns. Their quarterback, Sam Levitt, 2,400 yards. And again, only 11 games. Both of them missed different games this season. 21 touchdowns. But a big difference in this game, man. Arizona State is going to be without their star receiver, Jordan Tyson. 1,100 yards, 10 touchdowns. That is a massive blow to their offense, man, because I remember seeing him in person here at Bill Snyder Family Stadium when K-State played Arizona State. That guy went off. I think he had 175 yards, a couple touchdowns. He's an amazing talent. The next wide receiver that leads them in catches, 17 catches. It drops from 75 catches from Jordan Tyson all the way down to 17 for Xavier Guillory. So that's a massive blow for their offense, man. That's a massive blow, dude. How big of a deal is that for Arizona State in this game, do you think?
Yeah, that was something that I had brought up on the last video. I said it sucks to see their number one receiver go out with an injury in that game. And I was concerned if he was going to be able to play the Big 12 championship game. And it's looking like he's not going to be able to do it. Look, this will be interesting because one of the concerns that I had for Iowa State was their rush defense. And K-State had a great rush attack. And then all of a sudden, we go to Ames and we can't run the ball. Now, you could chalk that up to a lot of things. Maybe the O-line wasn't doing well. We know the O-line wasn't doing well. We know that DJ Giddens, got taken out of the game. But there was a lot of other things that were going on. But for whatever reason, our pass game was a lot better than their pass game, which is really bizarre because Iowa State thrives on their pass game. They've got two receivers with over 1,000 yards in passing. So it's interesting to see, it's going to be hard for me because I want to go with the recency bias, right? Where Iowa State just shut down the run. So if they shut down the run and Arizona State lost their number one receiver and all they have left is their run, well, what do we, I can't see them winning now because they just proved that they can stop the run. So I'm a little, I don't know what to think about it because was it K-State just not playing really well or was Iowa State scheming really well against K-State? Because K-State and Arizona State's run game is almost comparable. I would say that Arizona State's better. They've got a better offensive line and they do more creative things than K-State does. I'm having a hard time figuring out what's going to happen here. If we get the Iowa State that we saw for the entire year of how they handled the rushing offense from all the other teams. You saw what KU did. KU ran all over them. Do I think that KU's got a better rush offense than Arizona State? Probably not. You just pointed out Cam Scadaboo is number 2 in the conference. So I'm guessing RJ Harvey's number 1. And I would just say yes to answer long-winded. To answer your question, it does matter. It makes them a little bit more one-dimensional. And I think Iowa State will be able to scheme against that.
I'm interested to see what happens in this game without Jordan Tyson, because that's a massive blow. He got hurt against Arizona in their big win. I think it was 49-7.
Yeah, I watched it happen.
I mean, looking back on that, you got to be thinking, man, maybe we should have sat him, right? But you don't set your star player or star receiver against a rival. You just don't. But yeah, let's get into these numbers here, man, because it's very interesting. It was actually a lot closer than I thought it would be. And right now, Arizona State is ranked 16th and Iowa State is ranked 18th. K-State has played them back to back. So we are really looking at this from a K-State standpoint. How did K-State play against them? How did they play against K-State? Who are we more impressed with? And how are they playing right now? Which obviously we got to see them late in the season. So we know obviously Arizona State has, gotten better throughout the year. I feel like Iowa State has regressed throughout the year. So
technically there was a little team called Cincinnati that played in between those teams, but
basically
back to back.
Basically back to back. Yes. I mean, it feels like it's been 2 L's in a row, honestly, at this point. Okay, let's take a look at the stats breakdown here for Arizona State versus Iowa State this weekend.
All right.
So you want the colors to be on your side. The darker color means they have a distinct advantage, at least a 50 spot difference. All the others mean obviously they just have an advantage. Anything gray means no advantage, which we don't have any of that actually. When looking at this, dude, I mean, honestly, it feels like the defenses have the advantage in this game. The only advantage that I see is really the rush offense for Arizona State with Cam Scadaboo, and a passing offense for Iowa State, man, which is to be expected considering Cam Scadaboo is a monster at running back. He reminds me so much of Toby Gerhart. He's a great player. And then obviously Iowa State's got 2 amazing receivers. Kenny, what do you see here when you look at this stats breakdown here? Iowa State versus Arizona State.
Yeah. I'm liking Iowa State here. I understand that the rush offense is, clearly a huge advantage. But looking at the breakdown, what makes Iowa State so dangerous on defense is their elite passing defense. But when you remove, now listen, yes, a star player is a star player. And do I think that the next man up is just off the cliff horrible? Probably not. I mean, I think that they could probably do some things. I mean, how was it that Jace Brown, and you can say what you want about Jace Brown. He played his butt off. He played well, but he's not like a star wide receiver. He's good, but he's not like a star wide receiver. And he was able to make some plays against Iowa State. So I think Iowa State has a problem with their defense because they have all the injuries in the world in the worst places possible, and all their linebackers, defensive tackles. It sucks. It sucks for them. But when you've got Arizona State, who, and I think you agree, I think you pointed out greatly with the whole defensive. It's going to be a battle of defense. This might be a low scoring game, Steve. This might be a low scoring game, but I want to give an edge to somebody. I have to give an edge to somebody. And I think Cam Scadaboo is that difference maker. Potentially. It's like when you've got 2 receivers who are over 1,000 yards, that could set you up for some big plays, like some big explosive plays. And Cam Scadaboo is going to have to make up for them not having big explosive plays because Tyson's out of the game. Cam Scatterby is going to have to make it up by being a damn workhorse. And if the Iowa State, it's almost going to be exactly the same thing as K-State versus Iowa State. It's probably going to be the exact same game. The only difference is it's going to be in a dome instead of out in the frigid air of Ames. So I don't know who that favors. It's kind of it sucks to. I mean, Rocco Becht was not playing his best game. He played horrible against K-State. He did not make a lot of passes, but I don't want to say that that's like the normal Rocco Becht. Like, we've been seeing Rocco Becht all year long, and he's done great. So maybe he just had an off day. Maybe he didn't like the cold. I don't know. Maybe he plays better in the dome, that the house that Jerry built, right? So I don't know where to go here, Steve. I'm going to need to probably hear what you think, because it's real. I'm like, this is going to be a good game, Steve. It's going to be a really good game.
I agree, dude. And I'll put these stats back up again here. Honestly, when I look at this here, the big thing that I see is both of these teams are pretty evenly matched. I mean, Iowa State's got the advantage 9-7 in terms of the advantage here at the 16 things we're looking at. And one of them is freaking penalties, right? So, I mean, honestly, it's pretty darn even. And when you look at the turnover margin, I mean, what K-State was -4 this year. Yeah. And that's why they're not in Arlington. Both of these teams are +9 and +11 in a turnover margin. So their defense really finds way to take away the ball. I mean, each of them are basically averaging one takeaway or +1 takeaway per game. And I really like that for both defenses. I do agree with what you're saying in terms of Cam Scatterby having to be more of a workhorse on offense. He's actually second on the team in receiving catches. He has 35 catches this year, which is second on the team to obviously Jordan Tyson, who's not playing in this game. He has almost 500 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. I mean, this guy's an animal. He's doing it all, dude. He's got basically almost 1,800 total yards. I mean, that is crazy, man. Yeah. Absolutely crazy. I do think they're going to need to involve their quarterback, Sam Levitt, in their run game. I also feel like Iowa State needs to do the same thing with Rocco Becht. I don't feel like they use him enough against K-State, and that really kept K-State in the game because they just kept deciding to throw it in the cold. And like you said, this is going to be played in a dome, much different of an atmosphere. Also, I actually expect there to be 65 to 70% of the fans being Iowa State fans. Their fans travel so well. See them all the time at the Big 12 tournament. They basically live in Kansas City. They, like you said earlier, man, they haven't won a conference title in almost 100 years. They finally won 10 games for the first time in the program's history. Their fans are really excited. Yeah. They feel like they have a chance to win this because they're finally not playing Texas or Oklahoma in a championship game, which is Oklahoma's who they played last in 2020 when they lost. I feel like they feel like they have a great chance. I'm not quite sure who I'm going to go with yet, but I've kind of actually alluded to it in previous episodes, but that was really before I knew whether or not Jordan Tyson was going to be playing in this game. Yeah. Should we take a look at the College Football Insider's graphic here?
Yeah, but really quick, I mean,
go ahead.
I just wanted to touch on it, like with Arizona, Iowa State's whole, reason for being up and all this other stuff, like Arizona, what Kenny Dillingham has done in Tempe is insane. Like those fans are popping off right now, and he's got that city bumping, dude. So it's I don't know, man. Like I think both, like I said, this game is going to be so much fun because there's not a clear. I mean, there's going to be a favorite, right? But it's not clear. It's not clear. It could go either way. I mean, do they even have the margins out, like the betting margins out? They do. What
they do? They have Arizona State -2.
Oh my God, that is insanely tight. That is razor thin. Holy smokes! I'm excited, dude. I think it's both fan bases deserve this, and both teams deserve this. They both are amazing teams. Yeah, man, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be really cool. I cannot wait to see. But yeah, let's pull up the graphic, the next graphic here.
I do want to. I'll do it here in just a second. Short Bus says there's more kids on ASU from Texas. They'll be fired up. ASU travels better than you realize. Yeah, actually, just looked it up. Arizona State has 75,000 students. 75,000. K-State,
Wow.
guess how many K-State has? Just take a guess.
Maybe it's like 20 or 30,000.
20.
Yeah.
20,000. Iowa State has 30,000. Now, like I said, their fans are really fired up. They haven't won a conference title in over 100 years. Iowa State is 11 hours away. Arizona State is 15 hours away. Short Bus says Arizona State by 17. I expect there to be 60 to 65,000 people there. That's pretty far for people to travel 15 hours away. I think when K-State won 2 years ago, there were 69,000 people there. I would venture to guess there's 30,000 K-State fans and 39 to 40,000 TCU fans. So it'll be close to that. I don't expect it to eclipse it, but it's going to be close. So,
dude, like Tempe is right there smack dab in the middle of Phoenix, Arizona. Manhattan, Kansas is in the middle of nowhere. There's a difference, right? If Manhattan was a suburb of Kansas City, we'd probably get like 70,000 students, but we don't. So
yeah, I'm excited. He says it's the biggest school in the country for like the last 20 years. Wow.
Dang.
Because they can't find a flight anywhere. Yeah, their fans are excited. I mean, I don't know how many fans they had at their game against BYU, but it was a full house.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, Kenny Dillingham has turned this program around.
Coach of the year in the Big 12.
Hey, if you guys remember me talking about your team last year, I was saying, yeah, I watched the Arizona State Sun Devils at the end of, because after everything was done, it was like your games were the only ones that were on. So I'd just stick around and watch a little bit. And I'm like, oh man, Arizona State, like they're fighting in their games, but then they just kind of throw it away at the end, and no one's in their stands, but like their team is like, it's looking like it's fighting at least. And then they just kind of blow it at the end of the game. And that's why they have such a bad record. And then turn around this year, and then they're just like, they're 10-2. It's amazing. It's so sick. So
love it. Yeah. Arizona and Arizona State are definitely party schools. Actually had some people that I went to high school with that went to Arizona State to party. Okay. Let's get into our score predictions and hot takes for Arizona State versus Iowa State in a Big 12 title game. We have to take a look at the graphic provided by collegefootballinsiders.com that takes a look at all the efficiencies for both teams and does a spread. Here it is. They have Iowa State as a 51% to 49% favorite, a projected score of essentially 28-27. Kenny, this is crazy. You want blue, specifically dark blue, for efficiency, offense, defense, field position, all of that stuff here. Man, this is the closest I've ever seen it, Kenny.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man. This is going to be such a fun game. Now, again, we've already beat this horse almost dead at this point, but Cam Scatterby's got a lot of work ahead of him because they don't have a threat in the air. So maybe I don't know if this is predicting that score, with that in mind, but God, dude, for a championship game, you love to see this.
This is exactly what you want, man. This is exactly what you want in a conference title game. Winner going into CFPs. This is a beautiful graphic, dude. It really is.
Perfect. This is everything I want to see. I mean, I'm going to be up for this. I'm not even a fan of these schools, but I am going to be watching this game because that just looks like a good time, honestly.
Thank you so much, Short Bus. We appreciate it. We've been doing
Forks up, baby. Forks up.
We're doing as good of a job as we possibly can here. Kenny, I'm going to go to you first here with your score prediction.
No! I was going to pick.
Fine. I'll go first.
I was going to pick whoever you didn't pick.
All right. Well,
so we can be
kind of alluded
split
to it
down
all
the middle.
week. I've been alluding to it all week. I'm not going to change my thoughts on this. And maybe later I'll ask you your thoughts on this, about all of it. But I think Arizona State is clearly the better team. I mean, we watched both of them play against K-State. I mean, they dominated for a half. They basically said, we're not going to lose this game in the second half. They really took their foot off the gas. Iowa State, I mean, I felt like they had to try really, really hard to beat K-State. Without a couple of those turnovers, who knows who wins that game, honestly. I think Arizona State's better. Even without Jordan Tyson, I feel like they're pretty good. They got a tight end with 5 touchdown catches. His name is, I don't even know how to say this, Chaman Matire. 5 touchdowns, 285 total yards, 28 catches. Their quarterback, Sam Levitt, I was super impressed with him. I think they're just the overall better team. I think you want the higher ranked team to win this game. If Jordan Tyson was playing in this game, I would have Arizona State by double digits. Because he is not playing in this game, he is that good of a player. I'm going to have Arizona State winning 24-21. Lower scoring game. The over-under is set at 50.5. Definitely does not hit it for me. I do have them covering the 2 points. I got Arizona State 24-21. And then I'll talk about my my hot takes after. But Kenny, what's your score? Iowa State versus Arizona State.
So I just said I was going to pick whoever Steve didn't pick to win, just to kind of give, just to give a little love to the other team. Because honestly, it could go either way for me. I actually think that score prediction is pretty dang good. And the reasons why you said for Arizona State make a lot of sense to me, man. So I'm going to come up with on the spot. We don't write a script, all right? KSU Nation does not look at a script. We're doing this off the dome, okay, guys? Off the dome. Listen, I hear what you're saying about Arizona State. They beat K-State a lot better, a lot worse, and a lot easier than Iowa State did. But here's the thing. K-State, I would say, was not up in that game. After their loss to Houston, there's been problems with them, all the rest, and then the whole locker room situation. We've talked about it before. But K-State was up for Iowa State, and I think K-State played up to their potential, knowing that this is basically it for them. A lot of those seniors. So I'm thinking that maybe they played a closer game against Iowa State. Iowa State has a lot of injuries in their very key, important parts of their defense, most notably their linebackers. You kind of need that in order to stop a run. Cam Skattebo is a dangerous, dangerous runner. However, so is DJ Giddens, and they still had those same injuries when DJ Giddens was running, and they were able to stop him pretty easily. Not going to compare DJ to Cam, but they're similar in how they like to run. I would say Cam's a better runner for what their team draws up. We just don't have a good offensive coordinator to let DJ succeed. DJ's got to make a lot of magic happen in order for that to work. But Iowa State, nonetheless, was able to get it done against us in the run game. So where K-State had to make it happen in the pass game, which we've already pointed out, Arizona State, if they get shut down in the run, I don't know if they're going to be getting it done in the air because, again, their number one receiver's out. And you pointed out their defense does a good job of turning it over. We saw it on full display on both teams against K-State. Iowa State, I think, might be getting some interceptions if they result to throwing the ball. Now, I will say Sam Levitt is dangerous on his legs.
He's a dog, dude. He's a dog, man.
He is a damn dog.
In case they shut down Cam Skattebo, he had less than 100 yards on 27 touches. So, and they still won a game by double digits.
Right. Because K-State's offense sucks this year. So their defense was the only thing that was good this year for K-State. It just call it like it is. Their rush defense was elite. We're the number one rush defense in the Big 12. But again, Iowa State, they can look at that film. We saw what they did against us, man. And it's like, if they could do that against us, I'm sure they could scheme against Arizona State, especially if they become one-dimensional in the run game. Now, the whole I would say the what's the word I'm looking for? The variable, the question mark is Sam Levitt. This guy is going to make or it's all up to him, because everybody knows that you've got this massive like star in Cam Scatterbo. I mean, he's got a huge target on his back. Everybody's going to be like, we can't let him beat us. We can't let him beat us. We're going to do everything we can to not let him beat us. So they're going to be focusing a lot on that. If they take their eyes off of Sam Levitt, I think Arizona State might win, but I don't think Iowa State is going to do that. I think Iowa State is much too disciplined. They're way better in their penalties. I think penalties might come out into play a lot. They always do in championship games. And I just think Iowa State might win it in that way. So all that to say, it could go either way, but I'm going to pick Iowa State. I'm going to go with the clones here. And I'll say the Cyclones get 30. They're going to get 30. Arizona State, 28. 30-28.
That was the longest answer I've ever heard in my entire life. He just wrote a 5-page essay on why Iowa State should win, but also about why this game is so good. All right, we're going to get into our hot takes now. This is the hottest part of the show where we give our hottest of the hot takes, something that's kind of crazy that might happen. And before, I mean, I called it last week. I had Avery Johnson with 3 touchdowns. It happened. Kenny's had, I think the Colorado K-State game, he had K-State with 5 sacks, and they actually had 6. So a lot of the times, whenever we pick a hot take, it usually happens. So I'm going to go first. I'm going to go, since I have Arizona State winning, I gotta throw up some Arizona stuff here. Arizona State stuff. I have Arizona State's quarterback, Sam Levitt, 300 plus passing yards, 50 on the ground rushing, 2 total touchdowns. I think he has 1 passing to their tight end, 1 rushing, and then their other touchdown is by Cam Scatterbo. Defensively, I think their defense is going to get 3 interceptions, because last week Rocco Becht should have had like 6 against K-State. Unfortunately, K-State's DBs have stone hands, so K-State caught 0 of them. I think their defense is pretty good. I think they get 3 interceptions on Rocco Becht. Kenny, what's your hot takes here for this game?
I just realized your comment in the chat. That's hilarious. My hot take, my K-State hot takes for this game is going to be on offense. Jalen Noel and Jaden Higgins both are going to have over 100 receiving yards and a touchdown to each of them. I'll say they get on defense. I'll say they'll get 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. Sam Levitt's going to be tossing the ball up to some rookie, maybe not rookie, maybe just, not the star wide receivers. And I just have a lot of faith in that secondary, dude. I think they're going to be dangerous.
I think that's interesting, considering they just got torched by a K-State true sophomore wide receiver. So I think that's interesting. Honestly, neither of these teams have really played like any like amazing teams. I do think Arizona State is more battle tested when you look at their schedule versus Iowa State's. I mean, they played BYU, right? And they played K-State. Iowa State only played K-State. So I just feel like they're more battle tested, and that's why I had them winning. But yeah, that's the Big 12 title game, score predictions and hot takes. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell your friends, and consider joining the channel as well for just $2.99. All right, Kenny, should we go to the power rankings next, or pick all of the conference title games next?
Let's go with power rankings. Why not?
Okay, let's get right into the Big 12 Power Rankings. I'm Stevie B. This is Kenny G here on KSU Nation. Again, make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell your friends. Here we go. This is the Big 12 Power Rankings, the final Big 12 Power Rankings of the season.
That's right.
So these standings are what they are for the Big 12 website and also on ESPN. We're going to rank them 16 to number 1. I think we both have Oklahoma State 16, correct?
They have to be. We're putting them at 16 because we can't put them at 20.
Yeah.
They just, yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I would definitely have Arizona as 15 as well. Also, their quarterback, Noah Fafita, you called it, dude. He hit the portal. He's going to the portal when it opens next week.
I mean, do you blame him at all?
No. Their new coach sucks.
And that's crazy that they're keeping their new coach. That's a bad move.
They don't have enough money to pay him off, dude.
That's so sad. I'm not going to go Arizona State though. I'm going to go UCF. I think UCF is crap. They're just trash. And Arizona beat them. So we'll just,
UCF beat the crap out of Arizona by like 50.
Oh, is that right? Dang. Maybe I got that wrong.
They beat them like 56-7.
Swap it for me. I misunderstood.
I wasn't aware of your game. Okay. All right.
I thought I had the games, the scores flipped for some reason, but yeah.
I'm going to go Houston next. I think they played well at times this year, but I still think they're pretty stinky. They are still ahead of schedule with Willie Fritz as their head coach, but I still think they suck. So
Houston for me. There's not much that needs to be said. They are very much improved from where they used to be, and from where they were. This is a rebuild year. That's the difference.
Yep.
This was a rebuild year, and they're not dead last. That's impressive. So, and what they did in BYU, besides the fight, don't condone the fight, but they gave BYU a game. So you got to give credit where credit's due. Even though they still lost, they gave them a game.
Agreed. I'm going to go UCF at 13. Obviously, they beat Arizona. I'm not sure if they played Houston. I don't think they did, but I think they would beat them even without their coach that's now gone, Gus Malzahn. He went off to Florida State. They're in a rebuild right now. This is not for next year. This is right now. If these teams played right now, I think UCF is better than all of the teams behind them. Who do you got at 12?
I'm going to go Utah.
Yeah.
Gotta go Utah here. Yeah, they just had a really down season. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, they dropped the ball hard. When you put all your eggs in the basket of one quarterback and he just goes out right away, well, I guess that's it for you. So you're at 12.
I'm going to go Cincinnati at 12. And this is just based off how they're playing right now. I mean, both of these teams are 5-7. I mean, I have Utah at 11. I think they put up some fight against BYU. They won at UCF to end the season. There is still some fight in that team. Obviously, they had some quarterback issues this year. I mean, if Utah played Cincinnati right now, I would pick Utah to win that game. So,
yeah, but I mean, it's not about if they would play each other now. It's about, it's about what you did in the season. You got to count the whole season as a whole. So Cincinnati, I mean, they started, what was it, 5-1 at one point? They could have been 6-0. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing that they lost like all those games in a row afterwards. But yeah, I'm not going to go, I'm going to go, so I'll go Cincinnati 11. They've been 11 for me like every single week.
Yeah, they started 5-2.
5-2. That's right. 5-2.
They lost 5 straight to end the season, which honestly, you and I were honestly on the Bearcats train for a while because we're like, man, they're just a couple plays away from beating Texas Tech and Pitt, and those are 2 pretty good teams, and then they lost 5 in a row. So,
yeah. I guess I'll go next. I think I'm gonna go a surprising pick here, but I don't think it's too surprising. I'm gonna put West Virginia here.
I agree. That's exactly where I was going to put West Virginia as well. I think
The
we're
way
gonna
that they just gave up in that game versus
Yep.
Texas Tech, or was it Texas? Yeah, I'm like, there's no excuse for that. Like you guys, I can't believe it. It blows my mind that you would that they would play that bad.
They
towards
did
the
beat
end.
KU, which is who I have at number 9, but that was when KU was playing really bad earlier in the season. That's obviously before West Virginia fired their coach. If they played
Mhm.
right now, I would pick KU to win that game. And honestly, I think they're up double digits with like 5 minutes ago, anyways. I just think KU is a better team right now, even though they have one more loss. So I have KU number 9, the Mountaineers number 10.
Interesting. I'll go. I think I'll go KU here. Yeah, I'll go KU. It's their season's unfortunate. You know, I mean, if they would have just started out like they ended, they could probably be on their way to a college or a Big 12 championship game, but they just couldn't get it done early in the season.
I mean, when you lose your
A lot
last
of
game off
one-score
the road-
losses. A lot of
a
one-score
lot of
losses.
one-score losses. They got kind of unlucky with Illinois finally being good and UNLV being good, and they had the toughest schedule of anyone in the entire Big 12. Having
Yep.
said that, you got to win some games, and they did toward the end of the season. They did run out of gas against Baylor, but like I said, I still think they're.
What was it?
I think they'd beat West Virginia right now.
What was it they said? Like basically every game that they lost, if they would have just stopped playing before the 2-minute timeout,
They would
they
have
would
been
have
10 and
won all their
2.
games.
They would have been 10-2.
It's so stupid.
10 or 9-3. They would have been 9-3.
So bad, dude. That's so bad.
Yep.
Oh man, that's rough. That's rough, dude.
Who you got at number 8?
I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
I also have Texas Tech at number 8.
I'm gonna go Texas Tech.
I think it's a good spot for them. I mean,
Yeah,
they won
They have
8
no
games.
defense.
They went 6-3 in the Big 12 this year. I think they're a pretty good team. They're in the top half. They were in the top 5 at one point, but they never really looked like a championship contender, honestly. But that win at Iowa State is among one of the best wins this year in the Big 12.
Yeah, they got no defense whatsoever, but they play hard. So it's kind of one of them things. They have that toughness that I wish K-State had a little bit of. You know, it's unfortunate, but number 8, that's not a bad place for Texas Tech. We kind of knew they were going to be middle of the road, and that's where they ended, right there, right at the gatekeeper.
6-3. Yeah, I mean, 8-9. That's a gatekeeper spot, and they're in the top half. So shout out to them. Number 7. What do you got?
I'm going to go TCU, only because I believe that K-State would beat TCU
I
in a
agree.
head-to-head.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Yep. And so TCU, that's a great spot for them. I think they literally turned their season around, dude. And that's what sucks. Like all these other teams, they started off horribly and then they like turned it on at the end. And that's what that's what teams are supposed to be like. They're supposed to get better with the season. And what does K-State do? The complete opposite. They get trash at the end of the season. So that's why K-State, for me, is at number 6. I can't see them going any higher than that.
I agree. I cannot put them any higher than 6 right now. I mean, they went 5-4. They lost 3 out of the last 4 to end the season. Their offense was pretty bad on third down. Their defense is pretty bad on third down too. There were some bright spots. Avery Johnson is only 3 touchdown passes away from breaking the single season record for a quarterback in his first year as a starter. But the O-line was pretty bad all season. I mean, DJ Giddens made him look pretty good. They did have a great win at Colorado, which is, again, among some of the best wins in the conference this year. But considering how they play down the stretch, you can't lose at Houston and be in the top 5 to end the season. You just can't. So K-State number 6.
Another thing is that, K-State had a really tough schedule. They played all the other 4 teams that were in contention for the championship game. I mean, they lost to a 10-2 Arizona State, a 10-2 BYU. You know, they lost, yes, against the Houston team, of course, and then they lost to the 10-2 Iowa State. So they lost to all the 10-2 teams. So yeah, and it sucks. They were in those games except for BYU. They were in those games. I mean, K-State, if they could just learn how to kick a dang ball, they would have been in that Arizona State game if they didn't have an O-line go down while we were scoring a touchdown pass. It just it's frustrating. But again, you gotta put them objectively at 6. At least they're at the top half. I mean, that's like the glass half full kind of look.
Yeah, but still, it's a frustrating season. No one in Manhattan's happy to be 8-4. No one in Manhattan is happy to be 8-4. No one.
No.
So.
No.
Number 5.
Gotta go. This might be controversial. I think I'm going to put Colorado here.
Oh! Let me hear why.
Well, I mean, they lost to Kansas, they lost to K-State, they lost to Nebraska. The loss to K-State, you know, was early on the season. Same thing with Nebraska, but I don't know, man. I think that the teams above them, I think every team above them would beat them. That's why. Ultimately, that's why.
Baylor
now, I know,
Baylor lost, but they should have won.
I know that Baylor lost to Colorado, but that was very early on in the season. And I know I'm putting egg on my face immediately because I'm like, well, K-State was early on the season. They beat, you said that they beat them. I would say that Baylor is playing the best football in the country, some of the best football in the country right now. Yeah, I think, I don't know. I think right now, got to put Colorado at 5. That's just how I'm feeling right now. I'm gonna get a lot of hate. But hey, you guys, what do you went 9-3, 9-2? What is it? 9-3. You went 9-3. You should be pumped about that.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. And they do have 2 of the best players in the entire college football landscape. Travis Hunter for Heisman, Shedeur Sanders for the number 1 pick. I think they're pretty good. I don't think they're the 5th best team. I have them higher than that. I have Baylor at number 5. I think they're really good. They lost to BYU. They lost to Iowa State. They lost to Colorado. I know they've gotten better throughout the season, but I just can't justify putting them ahead of any of those teams when they lost to all of them. So I got Baylor at number 5. I think they're going to be scary next year. I think they are on their way to being very good. They should have beaten Colorado, but they didn't. Had they won that game, they may have been in Arlington, but they're not. And they got, steamrolled by Iowa State. They won close against TCU, or it was a close game. Who won this game? Yeah, they did beat TCU by 3. They bum rushed Texas Tech. I think they're pretty good. I just don't think they're quite there this season, but next year, I think it's them, K-State, and maybe 1 or 2 others, dude. But right now, number 5. So, number 4, what do you got?
I got BYU at number 4.
No! No way, dude.
I think the sauce has finally gone down. They played an extremely way too close for comfort game against Houston. Dude, that should have been a blowout game. You're at home at night, and Houston made it a game against you. I'm raising my eyebrows a little bit. I'm raising my eyebrows. And I just feel like if they played Iowa State, they'd probably lose. If they played Baylor right now, if they played a game right now, they would lose. I think that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, they played pretty close with Baylor in the second half. I think BYU is really good. I really do. I have Iowa State as the 4th best team. in the Big 12 right now. There are 4 teams at 7-2. They're not obviously going to look like the standings. I think any of those teams should have been in Arlington. Maybe they got to figure out a way to get to be a +1 next year if there's 4 teams tied. I think Iowa State, K-State played all of these teams. K-State played Colorado, BYU, Iowa State, and Arizona State. I believe Iowa State is the weakest of those 4 teams. Now, I know they have 2 really good receivers. I know Rocco Becht is pretty good. I'm just not enamored with their team. I'm not. I think Colorado's got way more star power. I think BYU's defense is really good, coupled with a great quarterback. I think Arizona State's got the best offense of all of those teams. Great quarterback, great running back, a pretty good defense too. I just think Iowa State is the 4th best among those teams. I do. They got lucky with the tiebreakers. I think they're number 4, man. I do not think they're better than Colorado, BYU, or Arizona State.
It's interesting, man. I mean, if Iowa State played Colorado, I think Colorado would have a very difficult time throwing the ball, and
No
they don't
way.
really run it.
No way, dude. Jace Brown went off against them, dude. He did, and
I think
Colorado's receivers are way better.
Yeah, that's a one-off game. Everybody has their bad days, but I think the conditions probably played a factor. But anyway, yeah.
Number 3.
Number 3, I can't put them any higher. Baylor. I just think that they're playing insane right now, dude. They're dominating. They're absolutely dominating. Baylor. They look, what they did to KU is something that Colorado couldn't do. It's something that BYU couldn't do. That's back, and something that Iowa State couldn't do. So back to back to back, KU just dominating these teams. And then Baylor walks in and slams the door shut on their entire season and their hopes to getting into a bowl game. So I don't know. I just think Baylor's playing very, very good right now. And it's why I have them at 3. I think they're at the power level right now, the power rankings right now. They're strong, dude. And yes, what you pointed out, next year, I'm terrified. I am terrified of playing this team. I have it already marked as a loss. We're going to be at Baylor for that game, and I already have it down as a loss.
Yep, I can see that. I think they're pretty good, and that's why I had them number 5. Colorado number 3. I think they're a top 3 team in this conference. I think they got some great star power. When looking at a team overall, I think that BYU and Arizona State are better. I do. I really do. I think Colorado's really good. Their defense has gotten so much better. Their program has gotten so much better. I've actually gained more respect for Deion Sanders this year than I had all of last year. Everyone talked about how good he was, and, I guess he just needed some time. They already have a bunch of really good recruits coming in as well. I do think next year is a rebuild year, but, man, I think Colorado's number 3. So, hey, we got a $4.99 super chat. Shout out to Master Ego. Thanks for shouting out my comments. I enjoy this channel. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. We appreciate
Master
that.
Ego. He is probably, you know what? He probably has an amazing body and a beautiful face. And he probably has no issues with getting women. And he probably has a very successful job. And he most likely is very good at fishing. I'm just going to go out and go on a limb and just say that you're a great fisherman. You have a body of a Greek god, the face of an angel, and you probably just slay. You slay with the women, dude. I guarantee it.
It probably has the best voice you've heard since Justin Bieber or Justin Timberlake. He's got to probably have a beautiful falsetto.
Oh, man.
I bet he can sing amazing tunes. But really, shout out to Master Ego. That guy comments more than anyone on our channel, and we really, really appreciate the $4.99 super chat that Kenny and I split. We appreciate you, dude. We really do. So
Wow.
he is a BYU
What-
fan. He says they
what a-
should let go of their offensive coordinator. I mean, I think everyone feels like they should get rid of their offensive coordinator right now. K-State feels that way. Texas A&M feels that way. I want Colin Klein back. I do. We'll take him back. We will. But I feel you. Okay.
Oh,
His
his
name
name
is
is
Kenny too. Oh my gosh.
Represent. Represent.
The best name on the planet, because I'm
It's
not
the
a big fan
greatest.
of Steve or Stevie or Steven. So I think
It's the
Kenny's a
greatest
pretty
name.
I think Kenny's a pretty cool name. Oh my God, they killed Kenny.
Never
Thank
gets
you so
old.
much for all of the comments and super chat, man. We appreciate it. Okay, Kenny G. Who do you got at number 2? I think I already know, but who do you got?
Well, even though I'm picking Iowa, I got to go Iowa State at number 1.
I
Gotta
was
go
gonna
Iowa
say, I
State.
feel like you got to go with them number 1.
I got to go number 1 since I'm picking them to win. So I think it just makes sense when you do it that way. I don't disagree. The thing is, I don't disagree with your list. Really, I don't. Too much. I think I think Iowa State's just based on record better than Colorado, but I don't disagree with putting it there. I mean, it's go either way. I think BYU might be a little too high in my eyes, but I'm not saying that they're like it's like 1 through 4 is not as big of a gap as people think. Like
They all have the same conference record, so they're all pretty interchangeable, honestly.
Yeah, it's very tight. So yeah.
I got to go BYU at number 2. They lost at Arizona State. I really wanted a rematch. I felt like, honestly, BYU and Arizona State were the 2 best teams all year. I mean, K-State played them both, and K-State had the hardest time of those 4 teams to move the ball on offense, right? Now, obviously, we talked about how K-State's offense kind of struggled this year at times, but those 2 teams really, really made it hard on K-State's offense to move the ball, to score. I think both of them had pretty good quarterbacks as well. Arizona State's got the upper hand, in my opinion, because of their running back and obviously Jordan Tyson as well. I think those are the 2 best teams. I think BYU should get into the CFP as an at-large. Their resume is pretty darn good. They beat SMU, who's probably going to be in CFP with a win or loss in the ACC title game. I think Arizona State's going to win the Big 12 title. I said it in the main podcast here. I think Arizona State's the best team, followed by BYU, and then Colorado, Iowa State, Baylor, and K-State. That's my top 6, man.
I respect it. I think top 6. I think really top 8. Top 9. We'll go top 9. The top 9 are teams that could really play well against all of each other. The from 10 to 16 trash. They're going to be, I mean, I'll ask you this, Steve, since we have it pulled up here. This is a question that I was actually thinking about today. With all these teams that you see here, let's just focus on the bottom, right? Amongst the bottom teams, who do you think is going to be a permanent bottom feeder team in the Big 12?
Houston or Arizona? What about you?
I think Houston will get out of the bottom because I think Willie Fritz is a great coach, and this was a rebuild year for him. My guess is it's definitely Arizona for sure, without a doubt. I think keeping Brett Brennan there is a big mistake for them, and they're going to be a bottom feeder team. They're probably going to be stuck down there for the better part of probably like 6 years, 7 years maybe. I think Cincinnati will also be down there. I don't think
as long as Satterfield is their coach.
Yeah, I don't think that was a good pick for them. And I think West Virginia might be down there. Now, I think unless they find somebody that's amazing, but was there anybody like in line for this? I have no idea.
West Virginia is possibly looking at Penn State's offensive coordinator.
Oh,
Andy
yeah.
Mickey, which is the former OC at KU.
Yeah.
I think he's a pretty good coach, so I think he could do some good things there.
Yeah, if that happens,
We'll
then
see.
I retract
We'll
my
see,
statement.
because I feel like Penn State could probably offer him a lot of money if they make the CFP and go pretty far. I don't know why you'd leave that situation to be the head coach at West Virginia, but I digress. Yeah, I think Arizona is probably the one team among all of those that probably should stay in the bottom.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I don't feel like that program is very good overall, anyways. So to answer your
Okay.
question, but that is the Big 12 power rankings, the final Big 12 power rankings of the season. Kenny,
That's right, man.
okay, it's that time. Let's take a look around all of the conference title games this weekend. Pick them all of that. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, tell your friends, and consider joining the channel as well for just $2.99. Here we go.
All right.
Starting off hot on Friday, it's basically a play-in game, a G5 playing game for the CFP. We got UNLV versus Boise State in Boise, Idaho in the Mountain West Championship game. Boise State favored by 4. Kenny, what do you got? And also, does Ashton Jeanty win the Heisman?
I don't think he wins the Heisman. Am I reading that? 312 carries. My God. That's insane.
28 touchdowns, dude. 28 touchdowns.
That's amazing.
That's insane.
Yeah. Some people don't even get 28 touchdowns for their season. And he has it just by himself. That's amazing. I have Boise State winning this. I think Ashton Jeanty is a force to be reckoned with. I think he's just too good, man. He's too good. And I mean, he's definitely going to be top 3 pick in the draft for sure. But I don't think he wins the Heisman. I think Travis is too talented of a player and too unique of a player that I don't think college football is probably going to see for a very, very long time. They haven't seen it in a long time. And I think it's not going to happen for a long time from here on out. People just are really zoned in and into their very specific roles. And most coaches don't even know how to coach a dual athlete like that or a dual position like that. And lo and behold, Deion Sanders was that, and he could coach him on that. So he was kind of lucky with that pairing. Just the stars aligned for that kid. And I just think this is his time. This is his moment. And you're not going to, how many running backs has won Heisman? I mean, they're a dime a dozen. So it's like them or quarterbacks. Usually it's hardly ever receivers and cornerbacks. That's amazing. But yeah, Boise State got them winning. Let's go 35. I'll go 35-21.
Okay, I like it. I also have Boise State winning this game. I think they're a better team. They got a pretty good quarterback as well. 2,500 yards, 21 touchdowns, only 3 INTs. Coupled with a running back that has 2,000 rushing yards and 28 touchdowns. Yeah, they're pretty good. I got Boise State winning 38-28, covering the 4 points and hitting the over as well. Yeah. And I think they're going to be in the CFPs. I do not think they're the 4th best team, though. I think that the winner of the Big 12 should get that 4th spot, though. Moving on. AAC championship game. Tulane versus Army. They did not play this year. I'm going to jump the gun here. I think Tulane's going to win 31-21, covering the 5 points, hitting the over as well. I think Darian Mensah is pretty good. They're a pretty good running back as well. K-State played them, so I got to see them firsthand. I know Army's, their single wing or wing T offense, whatever it's called, can cause a lot of problems. But I saw several times this year, because I watched their highlights, they threw 4 passes in a game. They're going to have to throw more than that to win this game. I still got Tulane winning 31-21. Kenny, what do you got?
Yep, same. That's exactly what I had. Tulane winning. Army's good, but Tulane's just better, I just think.
Okay, moving on.
Same, literally the same exact score too. So
perfect. Moving on. We talked about this in our main podcast. Make sure you guys check it out. Iowa State versus Arizona State in the Big 12 championship game, Saturday, 11 a.m. in AT&T Stadium. I have Arizona State winning 24-21. I got Sam Leavitt throwing for over 300 yards, 50 rushing yards, 2 total touchdowns in their defense with 3 picks, winning 24-21. Kenny, what was your score prediction and hot takes again for this Big 12 title game?
Shoot. I said Iowa State 30, Arizona State 21, right? Is that what I said? I'm pretty sure I said that.
Is something like that.
No.
Something like
I said 28. I said 30-28 Iowa State wins. Yeah, I mean, just if you look at Tyson, who's not even going to be in this game with 1,100 yards catching, receiving. Yeah, Arizona State or Iowa State's got two of those guys. They got two of them, so that's pretty crazy. So all the whole load is going to be put on Cam Scatterbo, and if he can get it done, man, that guy,
he's incredible.
Amazing.
He's incredible. I mean, I literally saw him run over linebackers all day long against K-State. So pretty good running back. We do not agree on this. I got Arizona State. He's got Iowa State. Yeah. Moving on. Georgia versus Texas in Atlanta for the SEC title game here. Has Texas as a 2.5-point favorite, despite losing at home to Georgia earlier this year, giving them their only loss. Kenny, what do you got?
So my philosophy when it comes to teams that are pretty close is that teams do not lose to the same team twice very often. It is like historical that it is very rare for a team when they're comparable in like in power ranking or whatever you want to call it, personnel and skill and all that other stuff. I do think Texas is slightly deeper than Georgia, but they're both insane schools. After witnessing what Georgia did versus Georgia Tech, how can you not go Texas here? And again, it goes with my philosophy that it's hard to beat the same team twice. And I just think Texas is a solid team this year. It's amazing. You know, they were a Big 12 team for years and years, and now they go to the SEC and they're running the SEC. Imagine that. Yeah, I've got Texas going 28, Georgia 24.
I like that score. I'm going to go the other way here, though, Kenny. I mean, this is a home game for Georgia. I think they overlooked Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech played out of their mind in that game. And yet somehow, some way, they still found a way to win the game. I think Georgia is more battle-tested. I think they play the toughest schedule of anyone in the entire SEC. They played Alabama. They played at Ole Miss. They played at Texas. I mean, they played a lot of really good teams this year. I think they're the better team. I do. It's a home game for them. I got Georgia winning something like 35-21. And I do agree it is hard to beat a team twice, but I think Georgia is the class of the SEC, and obviously the SEC is the best conference in the country. Moving on here. Big Ten championship game. This is crazy. Number 4, Penn State versus number 1, Oregon. Kenny, go ahead.
It's kind of a heartbreaker. You wished it was the two O's going against each other, but mainly because our boy Will Howard would have been in it. But yeah, I just think I'm going to take a line from Napoleon Dynamite, and I'm just going to say Oregon by freaking 90 billion. Oregon wins by 90 freaking billion.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, we do have a former K-Stater on Oregon as well, Kobe Savage, number 5, a safety. I will be rooting for him. Having said that, I've been saying it all year. I don't think Oregon is like the best team in the nation. I know they're number 1. I know they're undefeated. I know they get a lot of 5-star players, all of that. I have not been super enamored with them. I mean, they should have lost to Boise State. They had 2 kick returns for a touchdown in that game. They could not really stop Boise State's offense. They got really lucky that there wasn't a rule about having 12 guys on the field and getting the time back against Ohio State. Otherwise, Ohio State stops that clock and kicks the game-winning field goal. I got Penn State in this game. I got Penn State winning 28 to 28-21. I think they're better. I think they're
No.
a better team.
No way.
Even though Penn State has really not played anyone either, honestly.
They haven't played anyone.
No, but who
They
has
haven't
Oregon
played-
played? Oregon played Ohio State at home, and that's pretty much it. I guess
Yeah.
they played Michigan too, but
Penn State. So both teams played Ohio, and
State,
Penn State got their butts whipped by Ohio State.
no, they did not. They
Oh,
they, lo-
yeah,
they, lost,
did.
they lost by a touchdown. They lost by a touchdown.
Oh, dude, it was way worse than that. It was
No.
way worse than that.
No, here, let's look at it.
No, I'm saying like in the game, like they couldn't do anything, dude.
They had a pick six in that game. Yeah, they lost 20-13. They lost by one touchdown. I think they're pretty good. I think their OC is pretty good. I have them winning 28-21, and it'll be interesting to see where Oregon ends up. Are they going to end up the 5 seed, the 6, 7, where we're at if they lose this game? But yeah, I got
Oh my
Penn State
God.
winning 28-21. But I hope that Kobe Savage does well.
Parity in college football is at an all-time high. We'll
Love
just
it.
say that.
Love it. This is the year, man. This is the year that you want. I mean, there's really no dominant teams. There's really not. Last conference title game of the weekend. Clemson versus SMU. SMU's only loss is to a Big 12 team at home. They lost to BYU at the beginning of the season. I think SMU is pretty good. I got SMU winning this game 38-21. They paid to be in this conference. They're getting no money from the TV deals. Their boosters care that much about winning, and it's showing why. They're a pretty good team. I think Clemson's not as good as advertised. I think SMU wins by 3 scores, 38-21. Kenny, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I gotta go with SMU. I mean, I just want them to win because of the storyline of how they paid to be in this conference, and now they're literally running the conference, dude. It's amazing. And also when they win, it makes BYU look better because BYU beat them. And so they should be getting a little bit more love in the CFP. I know they're not going to get any more love. It's just going to be one Big 12 team in the CFP, but
they love the Big 10 and SEC, that's why.
They love them way too much. So, but I got SMU winning. I'll go, how about this? I'll go 35. I'll go 35-14. How about that?
Ooh, I love it. Both of us have SMU winning by 3 scores. Love it. And that is that's a look around all of the conference title games here in 2024. Kenny, there's just like one more thing I want to talk about. K-State's playing at St. John's on Saturday. St. John's is really good, coached by Rick Pitino. K-State's
the battle of the Big East, right? We're doing the battle of the Big East.
I mean, you K-State in person the other day. I mean, talk about what you saw really quickly, and then also I want to hear your score prediction for Saturday. I don't think there's a line out yet, but St. John's, where's it at? Hold on.
Let me ask you this real quick, Steve. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Both teams are
6,
6-2.
7, 8, 9, 10. There's 11 games between the Big 12 and the Big East. It's the Big 12 Big East battle, right?
Yep.
Out of those 11 games, how many wins do you think the Big 12 will get?
11. I think the Big 12 is clearly the better conference. I mean, Colorado freaking beat UConn. Colorado beat UConn, and Colorado's picked at the very bottom of the conference. They lost all 5 starters from last year, dude. I think the Big 12 is a gauntlet. Baylor's
going against UConn.
Realistically, let's go 8-3. Realistically, let's go 8-3.
Oh.
I think K-State's going to lose. I do.
I'm going to go 9-2. I'm going to go 9-2.
So what do you think? K-State versus St. John's Saturday in Queens. What do you got?
Well,
Because
I'll tell you what I saw.
losing.
I'll tell you what I saw. I'll tell you what I saw in the game on Sunday. K-State played a lot better, but again, they played against a team that was probably the worst college basketball team I've ever seen. They're horrible. But K-State did look a lot more comfortable. They looked like they were starting to gel and doing some cool, chemistry. Like it just looked like they had more chemistry on the court, which is really good. They didn't look like out of sorts or anything like that, which is really good. You love to see it. And I believe it was a good morale boost. However, I don't think K-State has done enough to be able to win this game this Saturday. I hope they do. But they're traveling, and I haven't been convinced yet that K-State does well on the road. So I'm going to go ahead. I'll say K-State with, we'll go K-State 60, St. John's 80.
A 20-point loss. Oh my gosh. I don't see that. I think K-State's going to battle. I think their offense is going to hold them back. I got K-State losing 69, nice, to 63 to St. John's. So I think K-State still has a long way to go. A long way to go. I watched the highlights. That was a bad team they played. I think St. John's is really good.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got St. John's winning. So
We'll see.
Anything else before we get out of here, Kenny?
Let's see. No, I don't have anything, Steve, other than go Cats.
Go Cats, baby.
Down in Parkville,